Let me read to you a passage from the 13th chapter of St. Matthew's Gospel, verses 47 to 53. It's the Gospel for Thursday of the 17th week of Ordinary Time. St. Matthew writes, Jesus said to the disciples, "The kingdom of heaven is like a net thrown into a sea, which collects fish of every kind. When it is full, they haul it ashore and sit down to put what is good into buckets. What is bad they throw away. Thus it will be at the end of the age. The angels will go out and separate the wicked from the righteous and throw them into the fiery furnace, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth. Do you understand all these things?" They answered, "Yes." And he replied, "Then every scribe who has been instructed in the kingdom of heaven is like the head of a household who brings from his storeroom both the new and the old." When Jesus finished these parables, he went away from there. That's Matthew chapter 13, verses 47 to 53. And what does it suggest to us? Well, in the history of literature and philosophical writing, there have been works written on the utopian society. Plato wrote his Republic, St. Thomas More his Utopia, and other works directly or indirectly on this subject could be mentioned. The drive towards a better and more just society is an excellent one, and the Church has a great body of social doctrine developed especially since the encyclical Rerum Novarum of Leo XIII near the end of the 19th century. Occasionally, too, there have been attempts not only at theorizing over a utopian society, but at constructing one, building one. The Church, with her vivid awareness of original sin, is aware that however much a particular society might emphasize excellent social principles, original sin remains. There will be the good with the bad in human society, and those who know and love the good must continually struggle for its triumph. Our Lord came among us, preaching the promised kingdom, which God would himself establish, a kingdom embodied in its fullness, and in the first instance in the person of Jesus. We might even call it a utopian kingdom, in the sense that it is the kingdom for which man and the world was made. It will never end, and Christ is its king. While it is the utopia in the sense that it is the one and only republic or kingdom that is heading towards a utopian condition in the fullness of time, it nevertheless is no utopia as yet. Like all purely transitory and earthly kingdoms, it contains the good and the bad. In our gospel passage today that I read, our Lord gives us a parallel from everyday work. He says, "The kingdom of heaven is like a net thrown into the sea, which collects fish of every kind. When it is full, they haul it ashore and sit down to put what is good into buckets. What is bad they throw away. Thus it will be at the end of the age." In the kingdom, then, there are good and bad fish, and the good must somehow live with the bad till the reckoning finally comes. While there are many implications of this for the everyday life of the one who wishes to be Christ's disciple genuinely and in truth, the implication Christ wishes to teach us here is spelt out very explicitly. That implication is that there will be, following God's judgment, not only the kingdom in heaven, but also eternal damnation in hell as well. Those who die bad in God's sight will go there. This is not a myth. It is not just the imagery of various popular religions, which incidentally it also happens to be, nor is it just a long-standing device to motivate and jolt people to be good. It is the formal teaching of the Son of God made man. Life is short, however long a life it is, and then follows death. The same pattern applies to the entire world. However long-lasting the world is, it will come to an end. And by comparison with eternity, the life of the world will be seen to be short. Following this life, there will be God's judgment. His judgment on the individual when he dies, and his judgment on the world and all in it when it too comes to an end. God's judgment will be definitive, and there will be no higher appeal. It will come, it will be over, and then all will be set forever and ever. It will be heaven or it will be hell, and in either case there will be no end. It is only common sense to live in the light of these great final things that will sweep every man and woman into eternity. These final things are death and God's judgment followed by heaven or hell. Our Lord reveals it plainly in simple pictures. Thus it will be at the end of the age, he says. The angels will go out and separate the wicked from the righteous and throw them into the fiery furnace, where there will be wailing and grinding of teeth. Do you understand all these things? Our Lord wants us to understand these things so that his word might bear the fruit it can. One of the evils of modern religion is what is called fundamentalism. The nature of fundamentalism is a further question, but it is most important that we live in the light of what we might call the fundamentals, not missing the wood for the trees. Some of those fundamentals are the final things that all must face and that the entire world will face. Those things which Christ has revealed will follow death. Let us take them to heart and live our daily lives accordingly. The one thing necessary is Christ and life in him.